What's up, everybody? It's Enlightened Masculinity Podcast on Apple, Spotify, Podbean, all those places. And also we're streaming on Zoom, our Instagram accounts, some YouTube channels, this and that, getting the word out. And I'm Yogi Chris, PhD, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, captain of IMC Nation. The title of this episode is Karma in Your Communication, which is a topic I've done many times. And as I get more or deeper layers of understanding of it, it's just that I don't think of the title as like, let me do another Karma in Your Communication episode or another episode on Karma in Your Communication. Literally just the phrase comes to me. It just like pops in my mind as I'm reflecting on, just reflecting on my life, my growth, experiences, this and that. And the words come to me, karma in your communication. There's karma in your communication. And I was looking at this. It's a little factoid, little piece of data that I gave a long time ago from Evolution of Desire, I think. And it was basically like courtship from meeting someone to a full-on committed relationship is going to be in the ballpark of about 1 million words that you exchange with an individual. 1 million words. And then I'm combining that with the idea that it's amazing, as we produce these social media clips, we put captions on these clips, right? And so a 30 to 60 second clip has a really long paragraph of like you say a lot in 30 seconds. Like if you have a 1 hour conversation with someone, you've exchanged thousands and thousands of words, like 10,000, so just not that many conversations in a year, you're exchanging millions of words, like through your life, it's plausible you exchange 1 billion words or more. That's a lot of words. That's a lot of words that you exchange. And so when you change your vocabulary, when you change how you talk, when you change your grammar, just saying how to say things politely, how to say things respectfully, how to speak to the entrepreneur, how to speak to the ghetto superstar, how to speak to the child, like all of those are different ways of putting your words together, and they'll get you results. You'll say it this way and some result will come back. You'll say it a different way, a different result will come back. That's called cause and effect. And throughout your days and your life, you're creating a lot of different effects by how you're talking with the world. Never mind, it's like it would be its own, it's its own thing if we start talking about your inner dialogue and talking to yourself. I'm just talking about talking outwards when you talk with people. And it's just a ping pong back and forth. You talk one way, they respond to that. Then you respond to how they respond. And if you change your language anywhere along that sequence of exchange, it changes your destiny with that conversation. And if you change a lot of conversations, you change your destiny in life. If you change the destiny of a bunch of different conversations, like where you're going, your destiny, where you're going in this life is definitely going to be the result of many different conversations with many different people. And when you change how you talk, you're changing your destiny. That's called changing your karma. And there's a lot of ways to change your language. Obvious ways, you read about self-development, personal communication skills, you just look it up, watch any videos, this and that. You might find little sound bites or little syntaxes or ways of saying things that will change how you talk. As you read, if you just naturally read, you'll find words and vocabulary that express your ideas a little more precisely, a little better. As you increase your vocabulary, you could be over verbose, where it's just like, man, too many words, like this and that. But a better vocabulary, you more precisely can communicate. And just then there's the skills of communication go beyond just like your word choice. Having a rule for every situation where in this situation you use these words, in this one you say it this way. That's a script. And anybody that's written a script for like sales and selling something, you can try to make it short. It'll feel short if when you succeed with it, the conversation goes fast and you do sales. But when you really write out all the little steps that you got to do in the sales process, it's a long script. And that doesn't take into account all the contingencies that can happen. That's just the basic, if it went exact, flawless, no resistance, like it would be 20 pages of sales if you wrote it out. And, so actual conversations, there are a lot more. And when you change, so skills of communication involves calibrating all the tweaks, all of the little alterations that you would make to your tonality or your voice or your words or your body language and all of this to influence the outcome. That's why you're learning communication skills, even if that outcome is be understood more. But it's probably more influential, like you want to sell something or you want someone to do what you want to do, you know, come to your side of opinions of things. And man, it is so multi-layered when you think that you're going to exchange millions of words with your sexual relationships. You're going to exchange millions of words over the lifetime of business partners, of friends, millions of words. And if you know how like if you and your friends, you come up with this like catchphrase that's like funny amongst you, and it's like you have that word that you say, and it's an inside joke. Other people don't know that you have that nah, like you have some phrase that like no one else really laughs about it like you do. You know what I mean? How many times do you just push that button with your friends where you just say it back and forth to each other, like hundreds or thousands of times until you burn it out? It's just used up. It's no longer funny. But that's a lot of words, man. Just time it. If it takes a second every time you say it, that's like thousands of seconds. How many minutes is that? You know, you don't get those minutes back at the end of your life. You don't elongate your life by using those words in those minutes. So your words take up time, they take up breath, they take up effort. And it might not seem like much, but when you add it up over the months and years of your life, the way you talk accumulates results. It snowballs. And it's very multi-layered, very many directions, because you have family relations, you have business relations, school relations, athletic relations, you know, romantic relations. So many, and it's so intricate. And it wouldn't even be possible, really. It's intractable, because every time you explain, it's like a hydra. You explain a situation, and then two questions pop up about, well, what if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? You'll never satisfy all the what ifs. That's what God's responsibility is. Create a trillion, billion, quadrillion creations and experience everything that's possible. Your job is to experience what you want. What do you want? Get it. Go for it. How do you do it? It's going to be skills of communication. How do you get skills of communication? I'm telling you, ultimately, it's going to be a mirror reversing in on itself, where you need a mentality, a philosophy, a self-image, a self-esteem, a self-worth, a way of relating to your own mind before you relate to the world. You think communication skills is relating to the world. I'm saying it's relating to your mind, so that your mind relates the way you want it to with the world. But then who is you relating to your mind? What is this mind thing? So it's like it's a whole education on something that the school, public school, definitely didn't teach you about it. Maybe some psychology somewhere, transpersonal psychology, starts to get into something about it. But man, I don't know until you take it from me or you take it from someone else, you go through it yourself or whatever. Like, the system of education, it's inherently flawed. It cannot produce what you're wanting it to produce, because it is filtered through other people's structure of how to do it. You'll get something from it. I definitely learned a lot about ecosystems, ecology, environmental science, accounting, and especially accounting and some technical skills like working spreadsheets has become invaluable. It is what has separated me from so many guys that tried to do what I do with IMC Nation before me, because I knew how to do those things. And obviously athletics and my drive and toughness and things like that helps. But, you know, I failed at a lot of things after I finished athletics, because most things in life do not produce results based on your physical exertion. It's not purely calories burned, or the physical optimization is a minor, not major factor in the success in most endeavors in life. Unless those endeavors are be a professional athlete or a fitness trainer, or, you know, something that is related to that, then, you know, it ends up being nothing related to that. It's kind of like guys think that they'll get good with women if they get good with money, because it takes money to be good with women and whatever. And eventually you may not realize, but you'll definitely be faced with the fact that no matter what you get good at in life, if it's not getting good with women, only a handful of things will even improve your skills with relating with women. Most things have nothing to do with women and probably take you in the opposite direction. It's a completely different skill set. It's like, it just doesn't even relate. It will help, like I said, if you make money, that will attract women. That doesn't mean you're good at getting with women or being with women or relating with women, having a life, building a life with women. Totally not related. but it will help attract a woman. Just like if you work on your body, it'll help attract a woman, but it actually has very little to do, if anything, with having a quality relationship. It's its own separate thing. You should work on your body too if you want to, but it's its own separate thing. If you want fulfilling relationships, it's its own separate thing. How do you get better at that? Well, before you relate men and women, think of relating just communication, being to being. Communication, being to being. Person to tree, person to rock, person to bird, person to dog, person to person, person to old person, young person. Yes, eventually you'll separate the genders, but I don't think you start with separating genders. Start with just communication, because every word you say outward is also a word you say inward, because you got to say it inward to say it outwards also. So whatever you're doing to communicate with the environment, you are communicating to yourself at the same time. That's why, as within, so without, that's why we are all one, because I can't do anything to you. I'm not doing to myself. I mean, yes, I get it. You're your own body. If I break your arm, I don't break my arm necessarily, but I will feel something. And yes, we have a term called the sociopath who feels nothing, but it's very rare, and evil exists. Not that that person is evil, but that evil created that, because that's horrible to not be able to feel the effects that one creates. Everybody else, which is everybody listening to me, I mean, the chances of you being a sociopath are so small, it's ridiculous. You're not, if you ever thought you were. Then communication with your environment, with family, with job, with work, with everything, this and that, when you alter that, and that will alter when you change how you're thinking about the situation, your philosophy of what does it mean? Where am I trying to go? The secret or law of attraction is a philosophy. It's incomplete. Stoicism is a philosophy. It's definitely more complete than The Secret, but putting things together, understanding the laws of the universe, as well as your character, not compromising your integrity, that honor starts now and ends now. There is no honor in the future. It's just now. Are you being and living honorably? Then where are you going? What's your direction, your trajectory? Okay, now how do you get there? It's going to be a long, arduous, somewhat trial and error situation, endeavor, and teachers and mentors and guides can facilitate and accelerate your journey. And, perhaps the motivation or the target, the goal, the objective of your journey was inspired by some outside, something. You saw some result. You saw someone with something that you wanted. You wanted that kind of life. You wanted that kind of possession. You wanted that kind of freedom, that kind of life, basically, because it comes down to that. We're all modeling after a life. So you went into sales because you saw the salesman and he had a life you wanted. You got into mechanic because you saw some car guy and he had the life you wanted. There was something about it. Then there's an innate, you have some abilities. Hard to say which of your abilities are genetic and which were nurtured all the way from conception through the womb, through birth, early years. You don't even remember. How much is genetic? How much is nurture? I don't know. But you discover that you have talents and abilities for certain things, and that may guide your path where you don't have to go against the current so much. Now, you can also make your weaknesses your strengths. That is a possible thing. Some things you are in your control, some things aren't. You can't make yourself 8-foot-tall black man jumping leaps and bounds over basketball hoops. You can't do that. You can't just change yourself like that. Not yet, anyway. I mean, we say that now, and it's like the technology will come where they clone an individual or genetically engineer a body and then transfer your mind to another brain using electronics or whatever. We can imagine it. I'll bet it's possible. Give it 10,000 years of evolution, 100 million years of evolution. I'll bet we'll develop the technology for that. So at some point, it will be possible, but maybe right now, it's not possible for me to just become something I'm not. But I can make my character weaknesses my strengths because those are just in the mind. Why would it not be possible for me? And that's the karma of your communication, because when you change your character, your default, when you stop trying to be something, totally stop trying, who are you? What is your character? That can be cultivated and developed, because when you stop trying, most of your day, you're probably not trying. You stress out about trying, during that activity or at that moment, that date, that job interview, Notice how you stressed out about how you presented yourself at the interview, and then the first few days of the job, and as you get comfortable, you stop caring about how you're presenting. Eventually, you get so comfortable, it's just natural. You relax into it. Same thing with the relationship. You front yourself, and then it starts you start to lose the front, and they discover, oh, they were really like this. They were fronting. How many people have that story? So eventually, you will fall back to your default. It's too hard to keep up a front all the time. There are still situations you want to have self-control and calibration and whatever, but most of your life is lived on your baseline default mode. And then if you have a process, a daily process, you can push that baseline. You can grow. People love to grow because when you grow and develop, you change the results. You change the effects you create because your natural, latent, no, I don't want to say natural, but your baseline character is going to get you most of the results that you experience. So working on yourself changes your destiny. That's karma. Cause and effect. Karma is this ancient word, very small, 5 letters, that encapsulates such a complex phenomenon. But thinking about it like this, what's up, Soft Like Water? Thinking about it like this, really projecting your mind, simulating it forward years, decades, and seeing how your current actions and current styles of living and communication, it's going to affect where you end up. Start to connect where you want to get to and what you have to be like and do and speak and act. And how do you have to be to get there? Just keep running that current back and forth from the future to the present, until you figure out better and better ways to get there. And you'll find that it's probably more challenging than you think. And you got to rely on that desire. You got to rely on that motivation, that ambition. And when it stops being worth it, then you move on. But hopefully you transmute all of what you've done into the next thing. So I translated my wrestling into my guitar playing. I translated, and my drug dealing, really, honestly. And I translated my drug dealing into guitar playing, honestly, into a PhD and a yoga practice. Probably more accurately, I translated my wrestling into my yoga. There was a bunch of intermediaries in between, but all that athleticism and body awareness and discipline and self-discipline to train my body because I just need training became my yoga practice. So my interest in physics became my interest in engineering, became my interest in environmental sciences, became my interest in building a business for my yoga, became my IMC business. The skills I learned in each endeavor, I translated as much as I could to the next. And if it didn't transfer, then it didn't transfer. But hopefully I cultivated some character in the process that I carried with me. So when I leave the activity, I have character instead of relying on the activity to be my character. There we go. All right, everybody. We're in Vegas now. We're doing lots of trainings. There's daily classes. There's yoga with me every weekend online. All these links are provided in the description and for this episode. If you're watching the recording, then leave a review, like, share, tell everybody about it. And I hope everybody online enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll do another the official IMC TV stream. I thought today was Thursday for some reason, but this is a recording. It'll go up. Thank you, everybody, for attending live and who watched the recording. See you next time. Jai Guru Dev. Os. Praise the Lord.